Hey there folks, I'm Mysterious JG, and welcome back to Let's Play Dynasty Warriors 9. So, as you can see from my starting point here, I have done a little messing around off screen, and it might not have been that great an idea, because I'm actually out of Dynasty Warriors 9, which is why I'm Let's Playing it right this minute. Didn't have any more in the can, and I spent a whole bunch of time playing and not recording, and now I'm out of content for my channel. So here I am trying to catch up. But what I was trying to do is just like dash through and unlock everyone. Because although somebody said, oh, you unlocked a bunch of Wei characters, because when you complete a full storyline, you unlock everyone for that kingdom. We haven't finished Cao Cao's yet. But off screen, I finished Genji's. And suddenly I had unlocked Pang Day and Wang Chi. No, that doesn't make sense. I don't understand exactly what happened, but I unlocked a bunch of Wei characters that I hadn't expected to unlock, and thought maybe it didn't work the way I thought it did. I thought when you played through a chapter, you unlocked everyone who could play that chapter, even if they were from another kingdom. Well, so as a result, I was like, well, once I had played through with Genji off screen, which I like Genji, she's a fun character, but I didn't expect to see her playing a big part in anybody else's story. And as I have learned, there is basically one story per kingdom, per chapter. And you may, as depending on the character you play as, rarely get little unique story missions with them that you wouldn't get. Not story missions, just little story scenes, little bits of dialogue that you wouldn't get with another character. But mostly, you just play through the story that you would as any other officer from that kingdom. So I played through Genji's whole story, got her ending, and realized, oh, Genji's going to go fairly close to the end of the game, but she's not going to go all the way to the end of the game. But that took me far enough to unlock some characters, because you'll notice no new Wu characters get introduced too late. You have Zhu Ran and Ding Feng introduced around the time of the beginning of Three Kingdoms, but there's really not a lot of brand new and interesting Wu characters to unlock that start late, because they're not that involved with the final chapters of the novel. And other than the non-Mon contingent, and I guess Zuo C pops up at some point. He has his own goofy story, I'm sure. But mostly the end of the novel is about Shu and what comes to be known as Jin. So by the time I got to finishing Genji's story, I had unlocked a couple of people from Jin, including, as it happens, at Chapter 10, Zhang Chunhua. And I was like, it's fun to play off-screen as the female characters anyway, because they never get to be that big a part of the main story. And I don't even have to justify it. She starts at Chapter 10, so it's like, who's going to be the easiest person to go to the end of the game with? If I go pick Sima Yi, or Ji Hao Ba, or any of those people, or even worse, Jin Jiang Yuring, who I don't even really know who that is. I think this is her first appearance. I'd have to clear all these other chapters. If I pick Zhang Chunhua, all I got to do is clear the last 4 chapters, and I've already cleared the first 9 chapters. Fortunately, she goes down to Chapter 12 and then stops. She doesn't actually go all the way to the end. But, as it happens, when you get to the Chapter 12, you unlock Deng Aiyai, Wang Yuanji, Zhang Hui, and Jing Chong. All of which would actually be fun characters, but as it turns out, when you play as Wang Yuanji, I knew that any of those 4 would actually go to the end. But Wang Yuanji, and this is something that I found out by Google, every character that you unlock in the game is unlocked by just beating the chapter they appear in, with the exception of the last guy, whose name I don't even remember, because he's a pretty minor part of the novel, who has been made into a big deal because the Jin faction, when it was supposed to be its own standalone faction, just as big and important as any of the other factions, debuting in Dynasty Warriors 7, well, they just didn't have enough people, so everybody who was mentioned as being a big warrior of any repute has to be part of the game. So I'm blanking on his name. He's a guy, he's part of a rebellion against Jin. As I recall in the novel, he ends up I thought he got defeated. No, he didn't. They turned him around to their side in the middle of the rebellion. That's how it plays out in this game, anyway. But no, he appears. I even did the mission that involves convincing him to join our side as Wang Yuanji. But then it turns out, oh no, actually only playing as Zhang Hui and Deng Ai actually unlocks this guy. So, oops. Guess it did that wrong. So at some point when we get to the end, we're gonna have to play as either Deng Ai or Zhang Hui. Having played as Wang Yuanji, Zhang Hui is portrayed as being a jerk, and he pisses a lot of people off, but the game does not... And I speed ran the very last mission of the game. I just went straight to Chengdu, jumped over the wall. Liu Shan was the only officer that I killed from Shu at the very end of the game. Like the last big main mission, but there's like 30 different submissions you can do to make it easier. No, I just went in and ignored it and fought Liu Shan. But there was nothing where Zhang Hui and Jiang Wei rebelled against the Suma, which happens in the novel. So, I don't know. But anyway, 6 minutes of blathering did basically to say, yeah, I thought I unlocked all the characters, but I came up one short. And now it's time to go back to where our actual Let's Play was. So, we're in Chapter 5, The Sleeping Dragon Awakens. And, I could. The man who ruled the plains. I could keep playing as Cao Cao, or I could switch to Zhang He or Zhen Ji, which I was talking about doing off screen. It might be kind of fun to play through Zhang He's story, but honestly, at this point, I feel like I guess we should stick with Cao Cao until we. I can't decide if I want to stick with Cao Cao or if that's just going to be more boring. But Cao Cao is always at the center of events. It makes sense to play as him. I think I would get really freaking... Well, with Wu, we won't have the option of playing as the main character all the way through because Sun Jin's going to die. And then Sun Ce kind of becomes the main character, but he's going to die. You could start playing as Xuan. Xuan will probably... Yeah, if you play as Sun Xuan, Quan, whatever his name is, he'll probably go through until the Wu characters stop having stories. Ding Feng... in theory, or Zhu Ran, either of those guys, if there continue to be any, if there even is, well, I can't really tell if there is a story that you can play with Wu characters in these later chapters, it would be with them. And with Shu, again, we could display as Liu Bei. I don't know. Obviously, I'm going to want at some point to switch over to, Jiang Wei shows up late. At some point, I'll feel like playing as people like Yue Ying or Jing Tsai, whether I bother to or not. Or Fa Zhang, who you guys have not got to see in previous games that much. Anyway, but no, we could switch over to Zhang He or Zhen Ji, but let's just stick with Cao Cao for right now. It's awfully tempting to play as him, but it looks like he doesn't even have... Oh, he doesn't even have butterfly wings and claws. It looks like he's playing with a variation on the throwing knives. Like he might be a clone of Yuanji. Which in a way isn't too bad because I have Yuanji's ultimate weapon. Anybody that I played as extensively off screen to get through chapters, I pretty much bought their ultimate weapon for them. Anyway, let's go ahead and stick with Cao Cao.
Shall emerge from the chaos.
The New World Order. Yes, history will be overridden. It's fine. You can climb the walls of buildings by using your grappling hook or by performing a wall jump. From the rooftop of buildings, you can avoid enemies or take shortcuts to your destination. Hopefully, this is the right place to start, but I might actually realize if we don't start by getting invited to a banquet where people try to kill us, the old Jian Wei storyline, that'll mean I screwed up and I actually need to jump back a chapter. We should have just rescued the Emperor.
The forces of Cao Cao defeat the armies of Yuan.
Oops, spoiler. I did pick the wrong chapter. And I just totally spoiled the fact that Cao Cao defeats Yuan Shao at Guandu. I'm so sorry, guys. I totally wrecked that for you. I know that was going to be... I know there was a lot of suspense about who was going to win the big showdown between Yuan Shao and Cao Cao. Now we're a third of the way through the video. I haven't even started the chapter. For me, there's been a big gap since the last time I recorded the game. For you guys, this will just follow on from the last episode. So the 10 minutes of dithering may not really... We've got bad voice acting. It's a big issue. Yeah, so I need to quit out and actually start... I started the wrong chapter. Because I guess I beat one chapter with Cao Cao off screen to unlock Zhenji. Maybe even more. Yeah, it should be the man who ruled the plains. But it's interesting because Wu and Shu also have stuff they can do in this chapter. But the man who ruled the plains is clearly referenced to Cao Cao. Just as the Sleeping Dragon awakens... There are way storylines set here, but the Sleeping Dragon is a reference to Zhuge Liang. Yellow turbans makes sense. The Dongshuo chapter, they broke up the events, the pre-Chirby events into 3 chapters. Chirby obviously gets a chapter. Yeah, how they break things up after this is a little bit more random. The road ahead for rulers. Fierce battle at Qing. Anyway. Alright, man who ruled the plains. I could do Cao Pi here, but I think we would start in the middle of the chapter. He doesn't do... he doesn't appear until we're ready for Guandu, but in fact there's other stuff that's supposed to happen.
A new world of my design
shall
emerge from the chaos.
It's weird. I probably should get Cao Cao's ultimate weapon at this point, too, because we're using him a lot on screen. But we're not having a lot of difficulty. It's also amusing to me that, although I played with him a lot less, because they start later in the game, now characters like Zhenji, Zhang Hua, and Wang Yuanji are all higher level than Cao Cao. Because they start in later chapters. There we go. That's where we're supposed to be.
Leads him to his own capital of Xucheng.
The capital of Cao Cao Mania Land.
The revered emperor of the long-reigning Han Dynasty gives him a certain prestige.
Can he spend his prestige points
Yuan Shu's faction
to buy heavy bombers?
Losing support. Panicking, he does the unthinkable.
He cuts off his toes.
He declares himself emperor. Basing his claim
he paints little bunny rabbits on his toes. It's unthinkable.
From the late Sun Jian. He claims to be the true leader and calls on all faithful lords to support him.
And it turns out there's not that many lords faithful to him.
Shao the perfect excuse against him. Shao proclaims
an excuse to adjust his mustache.
And begins his own campaign against him.
This has what to do with Cao Cao? Kinda nothing. At least early on.
It seems that Yan province is on its way to reclaiming
Yonder
its
province?
glory. The confusion caused by Liu Bei's invasion also seems to have subsided sooner than expected. This too must be due to the glory of the Emperor.
And everyone present's like,
I
you
agree
don't believe that, do you?
that the Emperor is somewhat responsible. But
Is he drunk?
your brilliant idea to have soldiers tend the fields in times of peace is the real reason Master Cao Cao.
Maybe he's high.
I agree. Everybody looks so happy when they're tending to the fields.
And feeding me.
Cao Cao, it seems your reputation is growing. We have men from across the land hoping to join our cause. Cao Ren is tending to them now.
He's putting them to work in the fields to feed Juju.
Excellent news. It's about time people learn just how great our Lord really is.
Have you heard the good news about Cao Cao?
About that. There is something you should know, my lord. Liu Bei has been spotted within the group.
Is this the Junju who kills himself
Apparently,
after Cao
he
Cao
was
essentially
driven
orders
from
him to
Shu
kill himself?
province by Liu
I wonder
Bu.
what playing his story
It
through would be
appears
like.
He is hoping to rally his troops here and enlist us to take on Liu Bei with him.
Liu Bei. Shun-U, what do you think we should do?
How do you think we can get that one private who follows him around to work for
Liu Bei
us?
is a man driven by emotion, not reason. I do not think you and he would get along.
Yeah, it says you and him.
Master Shunyo is not wrong.
But he's not right either.
But Liu Bei is extremely popular with the common people. If he was in your army, that popularity would rub off on you, my
I
lord.
think I made a rubbing out joke last time. I'll refrain
It
this
is
time.
not in our
Although I
present
kind of
interest
just
to
did.
go against the will of the people. Conversely, by taking Liu Bei in, we can demonstrate your greatness to the entire land.
Why do you have like a wedding trail flowing out from behind your
I think
hat?
we should go with Guo Xia's suggestion.
Nobody else suggested anything.
Cao Cao.
Okay, here we
Like
go.
Shun-U says, Liu Bei and us are like fire and water.
Would you like
We
to
need
debate?
deal with him before he is able to
Triggers a
gain any
debate
more
minigame
power.
between Jihaodun and Guojia. That is not going to go Jihaodun's way, by the way.
Liu Bei may have fought for Tao Qian against us in Shu province. However, he has no real talent to fear. We
Throwing
can
one
simply
ball up and
use
down
his
is not
charisma
juggling Liu Bei.
to our
It's not a
advantage.
talent.
Besides, if we make Liu Bei an ally, that means we will also gain the services of his sworn brothers. I have made up my mind. Is that understood?
I'm keeping my baby.
Yes,
If we're going to
my
use
lord.
his
I
charisma,
shall
he does have a very high
dutifully
charisma
carry
score.
out your orders.
Shahodun, I am going to meet with Liu Bei. I want you to set up the meeting for me.
What am I, your
Very well.
secretary?
Once you've made up your mind, you're not the type to listen to further discussion.
I just don't see eye to eyes with you on this.
Shu-Chu, I want you to keep a close eye on Liu Bei's men for us.
With pleasure, my lord. And thus we get this game's take on the famous even Confucius got scared of thunderstorms scene. One of those neat little episodes from the novel that tends to be remembered in the Dynasty Warriors games. It actually is a pretty cool scene. The first, in many of these though, Dynasty Warriors 5 has a special place in my heart, and they did a really good job with this scene.
Why are you being so kind to me now?
I must love your widow speak.
We once faced each other on the field of battle.
Oh, no, it's a
The only
trick.
one
I'm
I was
here to kill you.
fighting was Tao Qian. I have nothing against you.
Although I did kill millions in that fight. Personally.
If I killed everyone who opposed me, there would be none left in the land.
The entire world hates me, you know.
Especially for those with talent.
Although you don't have any talent, as I told my friends earlier.
If you, like me, have all the makings of a true hero, then perhaps you are one as well.
Forgive me. But a hero?
As you can see, I'm just a man who's frightened by lightning.
Unlike Cao Cao, who is immune to lightning strikes.
I do hope that we can both achieve what we are aiming for.
Possible. No, not really as cool as the Dynasty Warriors 5 version. There are but two true heroes. Can you name them? No. I lack the wisdom to make such judgment. I miss Dynasty Warriors 5 Liu Bei. Although he's less of like a whiny kid in this one than he was in 6, 7, and 8.
Behind the cloak of your lord's kindness and generosity, would you?
You're the ones who aren't being honest. You take our brother as a hostage, and now you're trying to use us to do your dirty
I'm
work.
sure glad they're gesturing, because with the new voices, it's hard to tell who's who.
Zhang Fei.
Knock it off, buddy.
Try to play nice, Dion Wei.
They should be worried about Guan Yu, because as we know, he will kill Cao Cao as Cao Cao is trying to retreat from Chirby using, like, lightning, force lightning. This is something we all learned in Romance of the Three Kingdoms 12.
I'm grateful for your generosity, Master Cao Cao. I promise to return the troops you graciously allowed me to borrow.
Except for that one private who talks like, I cannot do this voice. Please check out Dynasty Warriors 8, or Let's Play, where there is a private from Shu who talks like this.
My lord, Master Zhang Zhou has offered his unconditional surrender and is requesting an audience with Lord Cao Cao.
He's got lots of liquor. He got some hot women.
See. I shall go there at once.
I'm kind of dumb like that.
My lord, are you sure it's safe? You can't just venture into enemy territory.
Dude, he
so
surrendered. It's
easily.
totally blue on the map now.
It is clear that my strength easily surpasses that of Zhang Qiu. It is only logical for him to surrender.
Uh-huh.
Well then, we'll be there to support you, Lord Cao Cao. Please give us a little time to get ready.
I gotta go take a dump.
No. You do not need to accompany me this time. Having the two of you behind me is likely to scare off Zhang Qiu.
Besides, as we'll find, letting John Wei dies makes the mission fail if he doesn't die at the right time.
Face Yuan Shao. We must secure the Central Plains before that happens.
Build pillboxes.
If Zhang Qiu is truly willing to surrender quietly, that makes it easier for us. That is why I have to go alone.
He walks alone. He walks alone inside his pit of hookers.
Lord Cao Cao will be okay.
Yeah, Cao Cao basically goes to this party being thrown by a rival warlord because, based on like rumor about how beautiful this one woman who lives in the castle is, Cao Cao decides he needs to go nail this beautiful woman.
To just sit here and wait.
But Lord Cao Cao said not to follow him. What if he gets mad at us?
Oh, he got mad at me.
Well, the two of us might stick out a bit, but I think one of us ought to be fine.
Who would notice the giant bald monster man?
Choo-choo, stay here and hold down the fort.
I choose you to guard the fort. Hey, maybe we'll actually get to some gameplay before this video is over. I'm not making fun of all the cinematics. This is totally my fault. This video is.
Master Cao Cao,
There we go.
I appreciate your understanding of this matter.
But that woman I told you about is married.
Do not mention it. I shall personally guarantee your safety, Master Zhang Qiu.
Uh-huh.
I am relieved to hear it. Now, my servant Joshua has prepared a special banquet
Joshua?
to be held in your honor.
Here are the solid gold dancers.
Curse you, Zhang Qiu.
You're a jerk.
My lord!
Dian Wei, what are you doing here?
Gary Spy for the Psychic Companions Network?
Sorry about that. I kinda decided to disobey your orders.
I'm taking over your kingdom.
It's my duty to protect you no matter what. Now get out of here while you still can.
Damn it. He brought a guard with him.
One guard.
Everybody, surround Cao Cao. Don't let him get away.
Yeah, in the book, Cao Cao does not attempt to go to this party alone. He just doesn't
I
go
shall
with as many
escape
guards as
the
he
east
should.
gate and make my way to Xuchang. I am counting on you, Dian Wei.
To stand there while I kill the guards.
Yell at me all he wants when we get back.
My corpse will not argue with him.
Give me everything you've got. I'll show you just how tough I really am.
So, obviously I've beaten this off screen since I got to the next chapter. But the issue here is I'm not in any danger. I mean, we've had very few situations where, like, I've been in I'm not saying I'm, Mysterious JG, baddest badass ever, I'm awesome at this game. No, the game's not really that bad if you're used to Dynasty Warriors gameplay at all. The issue is that you get game over if you let Dian Wei die, even though his whole thing is supposed to be defending you. So, we can't really fast travel anywhere in this one, which makes sense. It would be kind of... Oh, actually, wait a second. Yeah, okay, it's grayed out. Alright, I will give them credit for that. It would be kind of silly if I could just, like, teleport to Xuchang. But we still get a list of missions. So we can rescue Cao On Min. We can rescue Zhang Zhu, or defeat Zhang Zhu. And defeat Hoochier. Get gold boobies. But we have to defeat Jiaju to actually escape from the castle, which is our first mission of the chapter, but doesn't end the chapter. So, defeat Jian. So Cao Renmin's right there. He seems to be fine, but we've got to actually defeat... Oh, here he is. He's right outside. That didn't make sense. Cao Cao's got some pretty fun fighting moves. You're really not almost there, though. That's the problem. So the next time we get to an actual city, I'm going to need to actually invest in the best weapon for Cao Cao, because it has to be crafted, which means we can pretty much build it whenever, probably. Unless we're missing, like, one ingredient. We rescued our oldest son, who will not be a plot character, because he's supposed to die here. My ambition cannot be stopped because I cannot be stopped from filling my ambition. It adds up. It makes sense. So now this one got easier, so let's find Zhang Zi, the actual boss of this zone who's set us up. Oh, I'm not as high level as like Zhenji and Wang Yuanji are, but he's still way over leveled for this, I'm realizing. Oh, it's a pretty cool castle, though, with the little, you know, lily pad stuff. Oh, see, and as soon as we walk away from John Wei, he's struggling. So I probably shouldn't be doing this, but he doesn't have a grapple hook, so you kind of have to, like, open up paths for him to follow. So I'm hoping to do all these missions, but if I do them in the wrong order... I did get game over here off screen. I might...
This is right about the time Jia Shu told me.
Might happen again, because you can get game over by wandering away from John Wei trying to knock out some quests. I think that just happened. I believe that just happened, actually.
Forgive me, my lord. I can protect you no longer.
It's totally cool, John Wei. I don't need you to protect me.
Seems my impatience got the better of me. I suppose there is no point in fretting over it now.
Yeah, so you get automatic game... So it acts like Cao Cao died. I'm sure if you're playing as Dian Wei, that's what happens. Cao Cao dies because you get away from him, you get game over. But no, here you got like all these generics just pounding on Cao Cao's invincible, frozen, game over body. And we have to go to the last checkpoint. Let's go to the last checkpoint next time. So we got off to not a particularly rockin' and rollin' start to this chapter. But believe me, these little moments where there's a gameplay challenge other than navigate your way past sometimes irritating terrain to get to the next person you have to kill, where the only way to fail is to die in combat, and dying in combat is extremely rare, we may learn to revel in these little moments of actual challenge. I'm the Mysterious JG. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you join me next time for more of Dynasty Warriors 9. Bye-bye.